guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, hello and welcome. My name's Katie. This is my July 2023 reading wrap up. I'm hoping you'll be able to notice a different in quality because I have got an upgraded camera, and this is one of the videos where I'm actually using it for the first time to film a video. So I hope you can notice the difference, and here's all the books that I've read in July. And I'm going to go through them, tell you my reviews and thoughts and everything like that. It's actually not been, there's probably, I think not even one book has got 5 stars this month, so a bit of a mixed reading month. So, put those down there. I'm going to get on because I think it's 9 books I read this month. So I'm going to quickly get them into a smaller pile before I fall over. And let's get on with this reading wrap up. I'm just getting used to this camera because it's like completely different to my old one. So apologies if I look in different directions. It's because I'm getting used to where the the viewfinder is on this camera. So I've got my trusty notepad, which I'm running out of room in, to talk about the books that I've read this month. So first book that I read this month is this one, and it's A House of Hidden Secrets by C.E. Rose. I think I got this in the works in one of them 3 for £6 deals. So I didn't know what to expect because sometimes they can be a bit like hit and miss. So I read this in, it took me quite a few days to read this actually. So it was a bit confusing to start off with. It's meant to be like kind of a thriller-esque. I found it a bit confusing because there's 3 POVs. Normally I'm right with them, but sometimes they can get a bit confusing depending on the plot and the story. So, 3 POVs. There were a few twists, again, but for me personally, they weren't like jaw-dropping. They weren't like, oh my god, no way, kind of thing, or something like that. They were just like, oh, okay, is that it? A bit mediocre, to be honest. It's about a woman who gets a job as a housekeeper for a gentleman who needs some assistance. And we go through the story, finding out details about the family and the sons of the man that lives in this manor. And we find out some information about Serena as well, who is the main character in the book. And yeah, I just didn't really like the twists like I could see kind of coming. And yeah, it wasn't really for me, so this will probably go in the charity shop pile. So that was A House of Hidden Secrets. What have we got next? Oh, next is a book that I've read on my Kindle. If I can find the image of the cover, I'll put it just next to me here. And it is by Carissa Broadbent and is The Ashes and the Starcast King. So it's the second book to The Serpent and Wings of Night, I think it's called. So it was just following on from the first one. And personally, I found this one quite slow. The romance between Araya and Rain, which are the 2 main characters, I personally found the romance very, very slow burn. Like, I'm not one of these people that likes a slow burn romance. Like, I like a little bit, but not like extremely slow, like to the point of a snail's pace. But the romance was very, very slow burn. We didn't get any kind of romance until like at least halfway into the book, which I can understand because there was kind of a tense relationship between the 2 main characters. So yeah, I'm not really a big fan of slow burn romances. So I did enjoy being back in this world because it's all about vampires. Like, the predominant main creature for the people in this book are vampires. So I love being back in this world. Also seeing Araya, who is the main female character, grow with her powers, because we found out that she was actually part vampire as well. So she was growing and learning about her powers and how they were going to change her and her body and what she could do. So she was still showing everyone that like she's a badass, she's not someone to be messed with. I love that kind of female main character who like doesn't give a crap what anyone else says and like will just show anyone that she's like not to be messed with. I would check trigger warnings. I think there is a warning at the beginning of the book for some topics that are in this book. So I would advise checking trigger warnings for this book. The second half of the book made up for it for me personally. The pace of the book changed. Obviously the romance came out, and it was just much better in the second half. Otherwise, because this book is like over 600 pages as well, so it did feel like it went on, but I'm glad I finished it because it ends them two books nicely. So like the first one, I love the whole vampire idea being the main creature in the book. There's demons as well and other types of vampires, I think, and other types of powers in the book, but the predominant creature is vampires. So I don't think that's what I gave House of Hidden Secrets star-wise. So I actually gave that 2.5 stars, The House of Hidden Secrets by C.E. Rose. So quite a low rating for me. And for The Ashes and the Starcast King, I gave it 3.5. No, 1, 2, 3. Like nearly 4 stars. I think it's meant to be like 3.75, but I only do in halves, so maybe 3.5 stars. Could have been 4 if Slow Burn wasn't so slow. So that is I think that's my only Kindle read of the month. So this month I started a summer TBR challenge, and I put a load of books for my summer TBR in a mug, and I've been picking them out each time I finish a book. And I've been reading them. So first one was actually one of the summary books I chose. It was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. And if I'd known like this was around Halloween, I would have saved it for October. But I'm glad I read it because I actually really, really enjoyed this. This is one of the higher rated books that I read this month. So Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Absolutely loved this. Very creepy. I loved Alice Feeney's writing style. Like she knows how to like keep you on the edge of your seat. Like I think she's really good at like thriller writing. I think I've got 2 other books by her to read, so I'm really looking forward to getting to those. So the plot twists. I'm usually quite good with working out plot twists. However, I had no clue with this book. It kept me guessing all the way to the end, and the twists kept me like it caught me off guard. When I read it, I was actually like, "What?" I had to read it like 3 times to like make sure I was like understanding what I was reading. Yeah, really looking forward to reading more by Alice Feeney. So we are following a girl called Daisy who is arriving at her grandmother's house for her 80th birthday. And it's Halloween, and her grandmother lives on like a remote island. So once they're at her grandmother's, they can't leave for about 8 hours because the tide's in, basically. So the family, who are kind of estranged and don't really talk to each other, are all stuck in this house for 8 hours. And because I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of someone dies and they're trying to work out who killed the person who's died, and it's very twisty turny, like it'll keep you on the edge of your seat. So I gave this 4.5 stars. I think I dropped it by half a star because one particular part in the book which I didn't like reading, so I would again maybe check trigger warnings because I did find that a little bit triggering. But apart from that, I absolutely love this book. Highly recommend. And I would definitely, if you can get it for spooky season, I would definitely get it for spooky season. So that was Daisy Darker. Next we have the first book which I DNF'd this month. I don't know if the lighting's a bit too bright. It's coming across a little bit better. It's a little bit better. So the first book that I DNF'd, someone actually book ferried me this off my Amazon wishlist, so I feel a bit bad, but I'm not going to carry on reading the book just for the sake of it. So it was The Girl Who Broke the Sea by A. Connors, and I was really looking forward to this because it sounded up my street, but I only got into it like less than 100 pages. It felt a bit like science fiction-esque, so I didn't really enjoy that kind of genre, so unfortunately that wasn't for me. So this will be going in my charity shop pile. It's barely been read, like that spine has hardly been cracked. So we follow a main character called Lily. She is kind of a bit of an angry teenager. She's gone through a lot of troubles at school, and she follows her mum, who is a scientist, and her mother gets an opportunity to go and work on a kind of research station, which is right in the bottom of the ocean. So she takes her daughter with her because it's got like a kids, like teen programs, education program on it. And yeah, so that is the main plot of the story. I found Lily, the main character, a bit like annoying. She's constantly whinging and moaning, and she's only just thinking about herself and not at the opportunity that she has to like appreciate where she is. I know it's also a bit strange, but it's for her mum's job. So yeah, I found her a bit annoying. I felt like it was just following the life on the research facility under the sea, and it felt really like science fiction-esque. So unfortunately that wasn't for me. So if you like science fiction, it might be more up your street. So if anyone wants it within the UK, let me know and I can post it. So that was the first DNF of the month. I'm actually going to talk about the second DNF of the month because I've written it down on the same page. And I've only read 2 books by this author, and it is Colleen Hoover, and it is Never Never. So it's by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. And I had high hopes for this because I thought it was kind of a thriller-esque book. But again, I found the plot rather strange. So we are following a couple who have been like best friends since forever. And they wake up one day and they have no like recollection of who they are. So it's kind of like they work together once they find each other and work out who they are, trying to work out what has happened to them. And I have read reviews, so I know the spoilers now, but I won't spoil it for anyone. But personally, I found it a bit weird, so I couldn't get on with it. Again, hardly been read, so if anyone does want Never Never by Colleen Hoover, let me know, and I will happily give it to one of you guys. But yeah, Never Never by Colleen Hoover just wasn't for me. Wasn't going to try and stick through it because it's kind of chunky, and yeah, I just couldn't get on with it. It felt a bit repetitive, and I'd only got like, again, less than 100 pages in, so yeah, wasn't going to carry on. So there are my 2 DNFs of the month. What do we have next? Next we have a book called Threads That Bind by Kika Hatzoglou. I'm really sorry if I butchered that. This was kindly sent to me by Tandem Collective to do a tandem read-along. So a bunch of people either on TikTok and Instagram, you apply for these read-alongs, and if they want you to, they'll send you the book so you can join in on the daily chapters. And yeah, so I was really happy to be chosen. This isn't my usual read, but I do like to try and put myself out of my comfort zone when possible. So my thoughts on this, I have done the read along obviously already. If you have TikTok, I have posted my daily chapters, read along thoughts over on there. But I personally found the first half of the book a little bit slow, and I was a bit worried. So it is kind of Greek mythology-esque mixed in with kind of thriller, YA kind of genres. So we are following, what is her name? Io. She is what they call a cutter, because everyone in this world has threads attached to them, so threads to different things that they love, to people, to hobbies, to jobs, kind of thing. So everyone has threads, and Io is someone that can like chop threads, like basically end someone's life. So Io can end people's lives by cutting a thread. So people see her as a bad person, and she is a private investigator, so she's investigating murders and things like that. So people see her as a bad person, but I was rooting for her in this book because she's had a rough upbringing, like a rough life so far, and as I said, people see her as a bad person, but she's not. She doesn't see her gift as a bad thing. And you have, in this book, you have like you're fated to be with someone. So she has someone that she is fated to be with, but they don't currently know at the beginning that they're fated to be with her. So she actually gets partnered up with him on the investigation, and over time he eventually realises that he is fated to be with her and things like that. And I wanted more from the fated relationship. There again wasn't much romance in this, only bits and bobs, but not enough for me personally. The second half of the book felt much better than the first, where the pace upped more and we could see where the story was going. I liked the author's writing style and the integration of Greek mythology in the book, and I believe this is out right now, so if you did want a copy, it's already out, ready to read, so I would recommend. I gave it 4 stars. It nearly was 3, but the second half of the book brought it back for me. So yeah, so that is that's my reading read along bookmark. So Threads That Bind by Kika Hatsapalulu. If you like YA Greek mythology-esque books, I would highly recommend. So next we have Hooked. This is by an amazing inspirational author who is currently going through chemotherapy at the moment for cancer. So I really want to support this author. I have some of her books on Kindle, but I would like them in physical copies, but maybe one day. So she does kind of not fairy tale retellings or like story retellings. These are books based on characters from stories that we know. So Hooked is based on Captain Hook from Peter Pan. It is not a retelling, it is a story based around James Barry, which is Captain Hook. I would heavily advise checking trigger warnings on this book. This book is very, very dark. So if you like dark romance, that kind of area, then you might enjoy this book. I enjoyed the modern twist on the characters. As I said, they're not full characters from the book, but they have names of characters associated with that book, that story. So, for example, James Barry is known as Hook. Yeah, Hook is kind of a modern day businessman come gangster. He owns lots of like clubs and bars, and he does obviously other things on the side. It is very, very dark, spicy scenes with Wendy and Hook. There's graphic violence as well described in the book. So, as I said, really do check trigger warnings. I think Emily McIntyre does put a trigger warning notice right at the start of the book. Yeah, she has got an author's note. A dark contemporary romance that is an adult fractured fairy tale. So, as I said, she has done one based on Aladdin, Lion King, Wizard of Oz, and Hooked. So I think she is in the process of writing another one. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. However, it is very, very dark. I had an inkling who might be betraying Hook in the book. Not right. As the story went on, so I was right in my guess. And I would highly recommend if you like dark romance, but do check trigger warnings just in case. I gave this book 3.5 stars. So, next we're on to another book from my summer TBR jar, which is Summer Fever by Kate Riordan. This is another book we got from the works. I found this very, very odd. I wasn't sure what to make of it. Like, I thought it was just going to be like a summery couples retreat, someone has an affair kind of thing. However, it is not that. Nick and Laura, who are our main couple, moved to Italy to start a new life together, but it doesn't go well. They moved to Italy because of a miscarriage, so again, trigger warnings in case that triggers you. Their first guests that book to come to their guest house, it turns out to be someone Laura has a past with, so and her husband doesn't know about the past situation, so you can see where that's going. Nick is also keeping secrets from Laura, but it's regarding like the house and situation with the house. So yeah, and the lands that the house is on. So Nick is keeping really important information about the house from Laura, and she doesn't know anything about it. She just thinks that they own it and are just trying to do up this place to make a business. I personally found the chapters quite long. Each day that like the guests were there was a chapter, and yeah, it just wasn't what I was expecting. So unfortunately, this will probably go into a charity shop pile as well, and I gave it 3 stars. So again, what's the best rating? Someone else might find it like better, like might interest me more, but for me personally, it didn't grip me. So, actually, I read another book on my Kindle, but this was a ARC, which is an advanced reader copy from NetGalley. You can request books on there, and you can read them before they get published, or sometimes, if you are a bit delayed, they're already published by the time you've read them. For example, this book is now out to buy, but I was a bit behind on reading ARCs. So this one is Dark Water Daughter by H.M. Long. It is a pirate-based book, and it's more old school pirates, I'd say. There's kind of pirate politics in this book. So in my notes I've got an overall a good read. I enjoyed reading about pirates and the idea of having people with abilities to control the weather, because that is a main big plot of the story. There is a woman called Mary who is a storm singer, so she can control the weather to make it even worse or better to help them while they're on the 7 seas. So yeah, that was a big part of it. And I would say if you're one of those people that like kind of skim reads or like doesn't fully read like books. With this book, I'd say you might have to fully concentrate, because some of the chapters, there's 2 POVs, and some of the chapters I found a bit similar, so I had to go back and be whose POV am I reading? I felt like this was more of a journey building story, so it was building up to somewhere that they're wanting to get to, and it's kind of the journey on the oceans and the ships and bits and bobs. So if you don't like kind of a slower paced journey building book, I wouldn't say this is for you. But however, if you like pirates and that kind of area of genre, then you might enjoy it, because I was a bit worried when it was just building up the journey, but overall I did enjoy it in the end. So yeah, I love Mary, who is the female main character. She went through a lot in this book, so I loved how strong mentally and physically she was throughout this, because she was being pulled left, right and centre and going all over the place, and she gets through everything that she gets through, and she eventually has a happy ending. So I enjoyed, in this book you get little information pages before a chapter starts with a word that's going to be used in the next chapter, so I found that quite helpful, because it helps you understand what that word means when you read the next chapter. So yeah, I found that really helpful, and I gave this book 3.5 stars. I have another book which was kindly sent to me from Tandem Collective. It is called The Guest by Emma Klein. I believe this is out now. I think I've seen it in bookshops. And again, I found this book very, very strange. We follow a woman called Alex, who is a young woman in her 20s, who is just running about in her life, just kind of going from one man to the next. She kind of works in that area of trying to date older men, if you get what I mean. So she finally meets a man called Simon, who she settles down with for a while, and she makes a bit of a mistake whilst living with him, regarding something at her house, at his house, sorry. So she kind of maybe breaks something or does something in the house which he may find not good, because obviously it's his property. So he kind of says to her, that's it, I want to break from you. So she's then kicked out and is essentially homeless. So she's essentially mulling about on the streets, homeless. She is essentially using people for her own personal gain, to stay somewhere, to eat somewhere, wash, drink, and there is drug reference in this book, so I would again check trigger warnings. So she's essentially homeless for this week, that Simon wants a break from her, and I did not feel any sympathy for Alex. She just used people for her own personal gain. She could have gone to a youth hostel or a women's refuge or something like that to go and get help, but she doesn't. She just rolls about on the streets, uses people that she hasn't spoken to in a while. It's just using people for her own gain, and I didn't feel any sympathy for the character whatsoever. The book ended so abruptly. I was literally where's the next page? So I was very confused about the ending, but I understood the message of the book. So obviously it's a young woman in her 20s, surviving on her own, homeless, making mistakes where she could have not made mistakes. But I didn't find it realistic at all. So I did give this 2 stars. I'm really, really sorry if anyone else has enjoyed this, but for me personally, I gave it 2 stars. Last but not least is my last book of July, and it is Ghost by Dolly Alderton. I actually bought this book through a book recommendation off Cherry Wallace, which is the YouTuber that I watch, and she was talking about this book and this author, and I managed to get this second hand on Amazon for £1. So I was really happy. I absolutely enjoyed this. It's not my usual read. It's kind of contemporary, light reading, but not all of it's light. Some of it is like kind of different topics in this book. So we are following our female main character called Nina, who is a woman in her 30s. She is a food writer. She is writing her own cookbooks, and she's trying to get her career off the ground. And it's kind of following her, a year of her life, essentially following her trying to get her career off the ground. Different relationships with friends. She has one friend that's like really wacky and out there, and another friend who is a mother with children, and how their relationships kind of change and kind of distance themselves, and different things happen. And there is also, she tried online dating, and the book obviously talks about her trials and tribulations and adventures with online dating, and a guy that she meets. And it also talks about some of her family relationships, because she has a mother who is kind of thinking that she doesn't want to get old, so she talks about kind of doing different activities to try and make her look not like younger than her age. And her father is kind of going through something like dementia, like Alzheimer's-esque condition. So she kind of goes through the struggles of looking after her father and trying to help him remember different things when he was a teacher. And it's kind of the struggles there. And that bit made me feel really sad. I was just like, oh my god. That bit did make me like really sad. And yeah, it was just kind of, I could relate to Nina, because I've been through like the online dating site situation, and how friendships change as you get older. And yeah, I really recommend this book. And I loved Dolly Alderson's writing style. I think she has got a couple of other books. I think this was her debut novel. But I may look at Dolly's other books, see how they are. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, Ghosts by Dolly Alderson. So let's go to my wrap up page. So a grand total of 9 books this month, 2 DNFs. My favourites of the month were my 2 highest rated books, I think. Daisy Darker and Ghosts by Dolly Alderson. Highly recommend them. And my least favourite was The Guest by Emma Klein. This wasn't for me, and as I said, I didn't feel any sympathy for the character, or like I didn't find the plot in itself realistic. So yeah, unfortunately that was not for me. But we've got to give these things a go. So I already started a couple of books for August. I'm actually going away in August as well. We're going to Blackpool next week. So I'm hoping to take a couple of books with me then, because we've got a long drive up there. And obviously in the evenings I might be able to get a little bit of reading done. So yeah, I'm currently doing a buddy read with one of my close friends that I've met through TikTok. And yeah, so that was July 2023's reading wrap up. I know it's going to be late going up, so apologies. As I said, I've just got a new camera, so I've been waiting for that. I can't wait to be able to get the lead, because I haven't got a lead to hook it to the computer. So yeah, that is July 2023's reading wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a big thumbs up. If you're brand new to the channel, hello and welcome. Please hit that subscribe button, because I'm trying my hardest to get to 1,000 subscribers. And I would love for you to stick around. As I said, we're going on holiday to Blackpool. It's going to be a holiday vlog soon, and I hope you stick around. So take care, and I'll speak to you at the end of August for what I read then. Take care.